So great outings last time out to bounce back tonight. What do you think of his outing overall?
Yeah, tonight, I mean, it seemed like from pitch one, everything was in sync. His mechanics looked great. I think he made a conscious effort to stay on line and pound the zone. Probably, I would say, I don't want to say it was his best outing, but it was definitely one of the top. For him to get into the seventh inning, only give up an infield single really to that point. So, 90, 94, 95 pitches into the seventh. I thought it was a great night for him.
We've talked about the bullpen a lot. What do you think tonight, just the way kind of things worked out there with Harris and going to Medina and Alvarado and the job that they did?
Yeah, those three, like we talked about pregame, they're the guys that are going to pitch in those up games. And, I think there's obviously tonight using Hogan in the seventh, it was more or less game on the line, in my opinion, to shut that inning down, and it was a safe situation, really. So, I think him and Alvarado and Medina all threw the ball really well tonight and gave us a win.
Yes, you always talk about the importance about getting runs with 2 outs, and also adding on. Both of those situations happened today because the 4 runs were all with 2 outs.
Yeah.
And by the way, Cortez 1 and 2, and then adding on because those 2 runs you add on. Could you talk about all of that scenario of the offense?
Yeah, I thought, obviously the Cortez homer was big to give us a lead. We talk a lot about wanting to play with the lead, and then, giving some margin for error with the add-on runs. I think that at bat by Butler, I believe it was a 2-strike pitch, and that was called a ball to give him a chance to get on base and then put a couple of bats behind him, like you're talking about. So offensively, we did a nice job tonight. There was maybe one play defensively. In that seventh inning, obviously Gage gets a ground ball on Clemens. He beats it out by, to replay a half step maybe. If that double play is turned, there's a good chance that Gage finishes the seventh. And then Hogan's, first batter, the pop-up down the right field line. So there were some things that went against us. Bolte's ball, the triple, the ball rolled on top of the padding. If it lodges behind the padding in the netting, it's another run. So, we talk sometimes about luck, and I didn't feel like we had luck tonight, but we won the game.
Yeah, could you please talk about that play where they had about 5 infielders looking for the little fly ball, and the ball call, and that's the first hit of the game, by the way.
Well, you're counting the pitcher in the 5? Pitcher doesn't need to be involved in that play, but yes.
He was the first one looking.
Zach called it. Tommy called him off. So obviously there's a lack of communication there. Tommy, if he's going to make that call, needs to get to the baseball. He was pretty upset by his decision, as he should be, but that'll be cleaned up.
You talked a little bit pregame about Tommy White and him coming into his own and that the power will come eventually, but that RBI double there for him, and it also added on as well. But can you just talk about that for him as a young player and how important that is?
Yeah, big at bat for Tommy there. Drive the baseball. He's hit that right center field wall a few times. He's got one over it, which is a good sign because as young hitters, when you can control that offside gap, the pull power will start and it'll happen. And I think that's the right progression for Tommy.
What was the argument there with McNeil? Was it that he didn't swing, or was there some other technicality you guys were looking at?
Well, I was looking at if I challenged the play and challenged that it didn't hit him, they would have had to rule that the ball hit the bat and that it went foul. And then they could rule it was a foul ball. So it was my impression that, once the play happened, he swung, there wasn't enough to overturn it to where it hit the bat. Just the bat, and I didn't want to use the challenge there.
Cots, talk about impression. What's your impression of Carlos Cortez playing this season?
It's been kind of a tale of 2 seasons for Carlos. He obviously got off to a great start. Carlos has been playing quite a bit this season, which, for him, the role that we had him in last year, it wasn't an everyday role. It wasn't a consistent role, but he did a phenomenal job. So overall, I think Carlos has done a nice job. He's a solid player, someone we can utilize in different ways, especially with the core when the core's back as a guy that can play as a 4th, 5th outfielder, give a great at bat off the bench. These last 2 weeks or so, you can see that his at bats have gotten better. There's still some things that he can work on to be a better pure hitter all around, but overall he's still a good piece for us.
Just talking to Kotsay, you mentioned staying on line and just kind of pounding the zone might have been one of your better outings this year. Do you feel that was the case, or how do you kind of evaluate this outing overall?
Yeah, I mean, I was happy with getting out there in the 7th. Frustrated with how it finished, but I think overall, compared to my last couple of outings, like the efficiency was better. Landing breaking balls in zone early, landing the changeup in zone early. So kind of all that stuff. Yeah, the execution was much better, so that's what I was happy about.
You're over 120 innings now this year, minors and majors combined. I'm sure you prepared for a bigger workload this year, but how does it feel kind of, I guess, getting to that point and still having a month left, just kind of the body overall, how you feel about that?
I feel great. Yeah, I feel really good. I think at this point you kind of learn how you listen to your body. So whether that's cutting back and stuff in the weight room or the training room, like whatever it is, you kind of learn those things and you listen to your body. But overall, I feel really good.
Yeah, you're talking about efficiency. You had 2 first innings very fast. By the 3rd inning, you had only 40 pitches and 3 innings total. But I'm intrigued about a certain at bat with the leadoff hitter. In the 4th inning, you were down 3-0, and you came back and you got that out for the third out of the inning. Yeah. How important was that, getting that at bat and the rest of your outing?
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get the leadoff guy. I hate walking people, and I feel like that's been something that has been an issue for me this year. So to get that leadoff guy was huge. And knowing when you're down 3-0, like, it's still really hard for them to hit the ball. So just executing and taking it one pitch at a time. And yeah, I mean, overall, that was huge to get that guy out.
Yeah, and there was a situation that sometimes might drive a young pitcher crazy. You had 5 infielders below that little pop-up there, and
yeah,
neither one of those got it, and that's was the first hit of the game. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I mean, maybe I should have took advantage of that and caught it, but yeah, I mean, that happened. So I try not to let it affect me and just get to the next pitch. So.
What were your thoughts about Hogan and Elvis to where they came in and cleaned it up?
Oh yeah, they did awesome. The entire bullpen, Luis, Elvis, Hogan. I mean, just a really good job. I left the game and it was still relatively close. So for us to come out with the W there was huge.
I know the hope is with the change-up with more outings, it gets more comfortable. Does that feel like that's been the case for you?
Yeah, I mean, today I was really happy with it. I was just talking to Springs about it, kind of knowing when to throw it, who to throw it to, but I'm comfortable to throw it really in any count. But the one, the Culpepper at the end, maybe that was just the wrong pitch. I'm happy with where I threw it. But yeah, I mean, that was just a good swing on that pitch. But overall, I'm happy with everything. Yeah.
Thank you.